All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move podcast. I'm Lance Armstrong, your host. Wrong show. This is SubX. Today is a SubX because we don't know how long it's gonna take, so we keep it open. As you can see from the special setup today, we have two very special guests. Not only two guests, but two high-performance triathlon coaches from the UK. We have Jahn from the frozen north and Carl from the far east. How are you? How are you doing? Jahn, how are you?
Very well, mate. It's great to see you. Thanks for inviting me on, and let's hope we have a good catch-up today. Good chat.
Good. Yeah, I was looking forward to have this legend chat.
Yeah, the legend has got us on his SubX.
Yeah.
So looking forward to it.
Carl, I see that you've been gardening.
Yeah. I've been in the garden and basically, stuck at home.
Yeah. So can we start by maybe with Jahn saying something about yourself, your background, and your coaching business? And do you have a special talisman? Is that my camel?
I'm Jahn. I'm a British Triathlon Level 3 High-Performance Coach. I think.
We're good. We already have some technical issues.
No, we're back, I think.
You're back.
We're back.
It's frozen. Carl, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll start, shall I? I'm a level 3 high performance coach for British Triathlon, also a swim coach. Usually coaching at club sessions at Crystal Palace, or more recently I'm going back to Orpington Swim Club. I do some like online one-to-one stuff as well, but yeah, the main stuff is group sessions and high-performing junior squads at Crystal Palace.
And your coaching group/business is tritalk.co.uk?
No, that's a website I run, which is a forum, basically, for all things triathlon. It's been going about 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Someone else started it, and I revamped it about a year and a half ago. Whole new forum, and we're basically trying to build it up back to the good old days of about 2009, 2010, where we had thousands of people on there every day. And it's picking up with the new software and stuff. It makes it more mobile friendly.
Good. So let's make the website going even more with this.
We just want people to come on there and have a chat about triathlon, really.
Good. Carl, Jahn, are you back?
Yeah, I hope so. Little issue, but yeah, I should be back. I'm Jahn. I've been coaching for nearly 10 years now, I think. I'm a British Triathlon Level 3 High-Performance Coach. I run my own little business, which is Evolving Triathlon Training. I'm head coach at Team Evolving, and I'll be starting, hopefully, next year, working in schools, coaching kids all about triathlon. So that's pretty much me.
Yeah, that's a really interesting project to start to do triathlon for kids. I really hope that is resuming because, of course, no one stopped it.
Yeah, it was the virus what put that on hold, but we've said as soon as we can get back to some sort of the new normal and we'll be allowed back into schools, but yeah, we're hoping September that'll be rolling out again.
Yeah, fingers
watch this space.
And just an explanation for who's looking at these three guys here and said how they met. Me, Jahn, and Carl met at the triathlon, British Triathlon Level 3 course last year, and we kept contact, believe it or not, especially after long chats over pizza and beer. And it's nice to catch up with some fellow coaches and see how they're doing in this new normal. So the first question I had for you guys, how did you do during this lockdown? Were you able to first train yourself, keep training?
I'm very lucky as I have my own gym. So even though gyms are closed, I have my own gym at home. So I've got, apart from a swimming pool, I've been very lucky and I'm still able to train. I've done more indoor training than outdoor training due to the lockdown. But a watt bike, you sit on a watt bike and you pedal, it gives you more data than you would do going out on the road. So, and you can do easy rides, you can do hard rides. Treadmill running is the most boring thing you can imagine, but needs must at times like these. So yeah, but yeah, been cracking on and carrying on.
Yeah, it seems like you have a pretty nice pancake. Do you manage to go out a little bit, or?
I've done a little bit. I took it. I've not really been riding long. I've just been staying quite local to where I live and running local to where I live. I just didn't want, in case of accidents or anything, I just thought it's a little bit selfish on the NHS putting extra pressure on them, and I've just tried to stay inside really. And yeah, it's one of them. It'll all go back eventually.
Yeah. Carl, we know you've been racing a lot.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Racing.
So for me, basically I've been Zwifting most days. So I've been riding a lot more than usual, and been out for a few runs, especially with the little boy. Nothing over 30 minutes or so, just to get out and get some fresh air really. But the minute the season looked like it wasn't going ahead, it was a case of just trying to keep yourself fit, healthy, and mentally strong really.
So that's the son of Watopia that you got.
Yeah, yeah, he rides on Watopia as well.
Watopia, so I'm pretty pale.
Yeah.
And concerning your regarding your athletes, how did were you able to coach them? Did they decide to stay with you and coach and train through this period, or did you like stop and you're looking to resume it now in a different way?
Some of them dropped off and said, oh, I just want to put my plan on hold and I'm not working, so I can't afford to pay that money, which was fine. I was lucky to keep a few on the books, and we continued training as normal as we could up until a point, and then we started realising races had started to be cancelled, and then we had calls and video calls and text messages and the amount of messages that went backwards and forwards between athletes. So we just set up a big group and went through what would like benefit everybody, and we all sort of agreed that taking the training, the intensity out of the training and some of the volume out, just taking it back to sort of winter training away, so that you're still getting a little bit of intensity, but there's no point going out killing yourself because there's no racing to do. So we just took it back and eased off. But yeah, and added quite a lot of strength and conditioning working because of the rules of you were only allowed out the house once. That made it quite difficult. And then there was some people were saying, well, you're only allowed out for an hour. And I was like, you're not, you're allowed out for one trip. So, and then so people were going, well, I only want an hour. I went, right. So we just worked it out. And so some people went out for a couple of hours on the bike. Some people did an hour, but we worked it out. You work through it. That's what we do. We're coaches and we chat to our athletes and we get answers and we resolve their problems. So,
yeah, it was pretty hard because you didn't know exactly what the recommendations were. Personally, I had some athletes like in different countries, so different lockdown scenarios.
Yeah.
You said you have a problem and you try to solve it or guide the person through these times differently. And Carl, I know you had a different situation and approach. You wanna talk us through?
With my one-to-one athletes, I just contacted them and said, look, have a payment break. It's going to be at least 3 weeks with no outside exercise really allowed, only short amounts. I also did a lot of research into the immune system and suppression of that with long endurance training or speed work. So I actually advised them, I said, look, I won't put any sessions up, just run or ride as you feel, but try and keep it to less than an hour each day, at a maximum of 60 to 65% of your maximum. And anything you need, just contact me. But we'll refresh this or review this in 3 weeks. But obviously, it just dragged on as it was going to, and yeah, I've still left them on a payment break. I've been approached by 2 people during it to coach them as well, who I've also said that just wait until June the 30th when BTF originally said we'll all go back together and we'll go from there.
So you still have a couple of weeks to see how things will move on.
Yeah, I wanted to just wait, and I thought, well, I'll give them a payment break for the first 2 months because there were definitely going to be no races until the 30th of June. And then we'll see what's happened and go from there. And now it's basically, there's going to be nothing this year. So we're reviewing constantly when it's worth coming back on. So one of them, he's very keen to just carry on doing his own thing for the moment. I've got another athlete who wants to be coached, that's got a very stressful frontline NHS job. And I said, the last thing you should be doing is training hard. Worry about your outside life for now. So I sort of left it as that as it is now. I'm getting regular contact with them, lots of questions. I also gave some strength and conditioning sessions for them to do. And yeah, basically it really.
That makes totally sense. And as well as coaches, you guys train and race yourself. So how did you keep yourself motivated during this time, and how do you generally keep triathlon fun for yourself?
Great question. How do you keep triathlon fun? Well, the way I look at triathlon, and you say racing, Nick, and it's more to taking part my side. Keeping it fun, I look at it, it's a hobby. I look at it, it's not our jobs. We're not professional athletes. So I look at it as we're doing this, it's our hobby, and it's what we do as enjoyment. So keeping it fun's quite easy. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy racing. I enjoy getting out there and testing me against myself. That's how I race. It's me against the clock. The other 2,000 people don't matter to me. That's how I look at it.
And of course, everyone has his or her own way to do it and to look at it. And of course, it's nice to hear your perspective. Carl, do you have a different one, or is it similar?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. One thing I've realised is how you don't realise how much you enjoy something until it's not there. And it's like, I really want to race now. And I raced a lot. Well, I didn't race at all last year. And it's like, why? Why waste a year? So that's one thing. The other, a good thing that's come out of this is with Zwift, again, I found a lot more of my athletes and my friends are on Zwift. So we're getting a lot of social rides together, which, as we've all got families and things, we don't normally do. You have Zwift, you've got Discord in the background, so you're all chatting and communicating while riding without the worries of traffic and potholes and following a wheel. But it's actually, in that respect, it's been quite good, quite social.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's not been difficult to stay motivated.
Okay, but I also suspect, because you have a very technological background as well, so you may enjoy Zwift more than others, like myself.
Yeah.
I can't do it, but I already wrote about it, so I'm not gonna go back to that. Does your idea of like keeping triathlon fun and the way you do it for yourself translate to your athletes, or do you use a different idea or ways to keep triathlon fun for your athletes, giving the person the individuality of the person you have in front of you?
So the obvious answer, it depends.
And now you're quoting our triathlon guru, Simon.
I am, yeah. I am quoting Mr. Ward.
And he's going to reply to our to it depends.
But it depends on the athlete you have. Some people take it very seriously and they're data driven. So you spend time going through the data with them. Others turn up and they just want to do it to keep fit. Others do it because they really enjoy it themselves. Everybody's different, so it all depends on the athlete you have in front of you. That would be my answer to that question, Nick. It depends.
Yeah, and can you make an example of a way you did it with one athlete that it was pretty special and unique? So keep him motivated.
So last year, I've been coaching one of my athletes. She's been doing triathlon for maybe 7 years, and I coached her for I think 4 years. So last year she was getting to the stage where she wasn't enjoying racing. She just wasn't enjoying triathlon anymore. So a lot of energy, and we took it back to fun. Make things fun. Make things enjoyable. Make the sessions enjoyable. So it was, instead of, I always say you should look at the overall picture and the overall goal, which I still believe that, but we had to break that down in little mini goals throughout. So instead of saying you're going to do 10 2-minute efforts, it was you're going to focus on 1 2-minute effort, then you rest, and the next 2-minute effort. Or for instance, the first 400 meters, then you recover. You don't worry about the rest of the session. You just worry about the section you're going to do. And it turned out that it worked quite well, because she ended up winning the Super Series down in Wales and getting a big piece of slate and winning it. So it worked quite well for her.
You gave her more control over the sessions than just giving her structure sessions all the time. So she was a little bit more independent on.
Yeah, just it's being athlete led in a way, but taking it so that it's about that enjoyment. You have to, if you're not enjoying something, you're not going to do your best at it, and it's about making sure that they enjoy it.
Yeah. And Carl, do you have an example of a way you an athlete, going back to the fun or reminding how to keep it fun?
Well, with the younger kids, the tri-stars, and Jahn know about this as well, we do a lot of skills school methodology type things, which is more about learning through game and fun, the enjoyment. So you can give the children ownership and then make their own sort of games, and they build on them games. So they add new rules while you're playing. So one particular game we played Bulldog, but we adjust it, or we played dodgeball at one game, which I think we did on our course as well.
Yes, we did.
So things like that. That's how with younger kids you can keep it. Was that you? So with the younger kids, you can really keep it fun quite easily. With the performance juniors, I think it's more of a case of, again, it depends on their own mindset. So some of them, their idea of fun is smashing themselves to bits for an hour and a half in the pole. But in that same session, you've got people that's not fun. You've got to work with the athlete on that. So in the pool with the older ones, some of the things we do fun, more fun stuff. So you can do things like mass starts, things like that, which they quite enjoy, especially the older boys, because they get a bit rough and tumble and things. And it's just all start in the deep water and have a mass start from one end of the pool to the other.
Yeah, that's fun. I would do that. So, yeah, I guess you have to be flexible and your attitude every time if there is need, from one session to the other, from one person to the other, and yeah, being open probably and make it fun by let it open to interpretation for sure. Does these examples then reflect in some ways into your coaching and training philosophies, or would those be a little different?
Back to me?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd say, yeah. Yes is the blunt answer. To explain that, obviously when somebody says to you, what is your coaching philosophy? You know what it is. In here, you know what your coaching philosophy is, but to articulate that, if somebody said, write this down, you're like, how do I write down what's in here? That's the hard bit. So the way I always try and explain my coaching philosophy is it's based on integrity, which is always being open, honest and ethical with your athletes, with just in life in general. And this is where I think is really important one, is getting the balance right with your athletes, making sure they're doing the right amount of training, they're having the right amount of rest, which is just as important, and they're having the right amount of family time and downtime away from triathlon. So in theory, I base it on them two triangles, an integrity triangle and a balance triangle, and I try and just work how I coach that, and how I coach is how I am in a way, and that's yeah.
Be nice. That was your
be nice, the opening line.
Yeah, the opening line at the course, and maybe it kind of sums up your way of being and coaching as well.
Yeah, that was my opening line, and you remember it.
And Carl's one was be mean.
Yeah.
Be mean. Yeah.
No, just kidding. Okay. What is your like, if you had to say or explain your coaching and training philosophy? Because for me it kind of is connected to one aspect is connected to the other. What is yours, Carl?
Yeah, mine develops a lot, again, depending on the group I'm working with. And I spent a lot of time working on this during the level 3, trying to articulate it, which is difficult. But one of the key things I always say is, relating to the past thing, keep it positive and keep it fun. Because if they enjoy the session, they'll come back next week. And if they come back every week, they'll improve. And so that's the key thing. And my other thing is to do no harm, which is one way to put it. So health and well-being always comes first.
Yeah.
And make sure they're mentally and physically healthy and happy when they're at the session. And that's the key thing, really. Yeah.
There's always a balance between opposites and different elements, from what I hear from both of you guys. And triathlon by definition is a balance of 3 disciplines per definition, so trying to balance things, I guess, is part of the whole deal in some way.
Yeah.
Okay, before wrapping up, do you have some questions for me?
Do we have questions for the legend?
The legend.
I'm not going to say the legend story. I will maybe write a blog.
The legend. So the question I'd like to ask you, Nick, is how have you dealt with lockdown? Because obviously you have family in Italy and you live over here. How's that been for you?
So yeah, it was pretty hard in the first period because they thought it was not that that real and that serious. So I was like, guys, you really take this serious. It's not a joke. So I was frustrated first. Then they realized it was serious, so I was feeling relieved. And honestly, the first 6 weeks for me were pretty busy because I still had a lot of work as a journalist to finish. So I was very much full on into that mode. Then the work slowed down, and I was like, oh my God, now what the hell am I going to do? And the work changed because lockdown is changing everything. So I'm trying to balancing my time and my routine again, about balancing and balance. But in the first period, I actually enjoyed it in the sense that being busy and not having to go out or following other times and routines. I was actually enjoying being home and having my rhythm. It kind of reminded me the isolation of the small mountain village where I'm from in Italy. So I was like very focused and very productive. Then I got bored and I got very much tired of not being able to break in the routine, because I like routines, but not being able to break it was and has been the hardest part now. So,
yeah, I'd say it's that though. I've got into this new way of living where you said, and you learn how to adapt very quick. I think humans can adapt very quickly to a situation, and you do get into a new routine and life slows down. And in a way, it's been really nice to spend time at home and spend time with the family and not have that 100-mile-an-hour rat race going on all the time. So, yeah.
We have 10 minutes left. Zoom reminded me that I don't have a previous account. I don't know if you guys see it, but yeah. But 10 minutes is enough.
Carl, you must have a question for the legend.
Yeah. How have you managed your athletes, Nick, during this time?
So I had a very open conversation with them, saying, look, yeah, this is new, this is different. We have to see how we're coping with this, because, for example, the guys in Italy couldn't go out for a run, couldn't go out for a walk. They were basically stuck at home for, I don't know how long, but more than 2 months. But we talked, and they decided to keep training, to keep a routine, to keep doing the stuff that they were making them feeling better, especially in harder lockdown. So no pools, of course. Who had turbo trainers at home trained on the turbos most of the time. They tried Swift for the first time. They liked it, but now they can go out. They forgot Swift from one day to the other. And an amazing thing we experienced with some of them who couldn't go out running was actually rope jumping. We tried to do some sets and repetition of minutes of doing rope jumping. And it was hard in the beginning, especially for the calves and for the muscles of the legs. But on this, I followed the recommendation of Brett Sutton. And it was a good way to replicate the closest thing you can do to running inside when you cannot run. So we tried that, and after a few weeks of hard training on that, they started to enjoying it. And we decided to stick together as a team. They decided freely. I didn't put the gun. I didn't force anyone, of course, because I didn't know how to coach a person in this situation. So it was a challenge for me as well. Because I had people in Italy, people in Switzerland, and people here, different situations. But I always suggested them to stay quiet, don't willing to overdo in this period. Take a look at the nutrition, trying to eat well and get a healthy immune system as much as you can, because that's what we were able to control. and just worked a little bit on the mental aspect of the sport, because I'm really into mental training at this stage. So it was a good opportunity to delve into that with some of them. And yeah, overall, it was a very challenging period. And I think now we're seeing the end of it, but we all are a little bit stronger, I guess, and we appreciate more what we can do.
Just to follow on from what you said there, Nick, you said about your control, and it's the psychological side, control the controllables. And I think as coaches, that's what we've had to do. None of us has ever, we've not got a book to say, how do you coach when the world shuts down? Nobody knows. So I think you just have to do that. Look at what we can control and focus on the positives and change things up. Skipping, jump ropes, perfect idea. That's a brilliant way to do it. And follow on, I've got a question for Carl while we're on questions, if I may.
5 minutes,
Carl,
5 seconds for me.
So Carl, you're probably the most experienced swim coach out of the three of us. What's your view on dry land swimming?
Well, usually it would be minimal, but in this time there's a lot you can actually do. So I've got swim cords myself, so I've even had my son out there with them. So you can obviously just replicate your swim stroke with really good form, doing it slowly. You can do the recovery drill, so you face the other way and recover, pulling the thing, so you're actually doing movement in the opposite way around your shoulders, which is really useful, which you never do in the pool. It's rare that you'll do backstroke or move your shoulders the other way. We've done, through the swim club, they've put a lot of things up, like HIIT sessions, basically, like real high impact, high intensity stuff. So like plyometrics, fast feet, sprints, press ups, burpees, things, circuits, and they've been doing regular videos that we've been taking offline, sending them to the swimmers. And to be fair, it's something different as well, rather than just ruining your shoulders every day. And one thing going forward that we might do is actually incorporate more of that, rather than just one dry land session a week. Actually prescribe something outside of swimming as an above and an option, not instead of real swimming, but it's actually giving you a different range of motions, just operating different muscle groups and things. So in a way, it's helping. One of the things I think, like especially juniors, which most swimming clubs are, they should be doing a range of things, using their body in different ways, not just focusing on single sports. So this has enabled that in a way. Yeah, definitely something to think about more going forward.
The reason I asked you this is I always remember the video you showed at the course of the waltz.
The swim waltz. Yeah. I haven't been doing that.
3 minutes 15 remaining. One fire questions. A book or a online resource you recommend about not necessarily a triathlon, but something that you find very useful in the last period.
The pressure principle. The book on psychology.
Okay.
I'm trying to think now off the top of my head.
Right talk?
Yeah, try to. Yeah. So a lot of very experienced athletes on there, all willing to give opinions and advice and help. So it's always worth popping in and having a look. So don't go to the Facebook page because it's dead. Everyone's on the website. So.
Got it.
But yeah, books. I've been reading up a lot on things like psychology and physiology as well. Just trying to increase my knowledge. So.
Perfect. Right on time. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here for this special episode. Sub 40, I would call it. Perfect. It sounds amazing. Like 10K sub 40 is a great achievement. So thanks a lot again, guys, and keep safe.
And you. Thanks, Nick. Cheers, Carl.
See you soon. See you, Jahn.
Bye-bye.